Being part of, the first girls' intake of Haileybury was a really exciting time, and I was really happy to be welcomed into this Haileybury culture. After missing out on London in 2012, I just had this incredible hunger and drive to make the next Olympic team.
In the early 1980s, one of the projects I had was as a barrister in the Costigan Royal Commission, which was an inquiry set up by the Fraser government indeed, to inquire into the Federated Ship Painters and Dockers Union. The great thing that Frank Costigan did was to expose massive fraud and significant crime, and I joined that commission as junior counsel assisting.
Some of the research that I'm involved in right now has a very personal aspect, and it's around developing eggs that are allergen-free. My 11-year-old daughter, Cara, has food allergies. It just so happens that I have really good connections and technology associated with the poultry industry and in particular the egg-laying industry, and it's enabled me to be able to, connect the two together to be able to do something proactive about the problem.
It is hard to describe the feeling that you get on grand final day. I think running out, you're full of nerves and excitement and so much energy going through you, but at the same time you're calm and collected, and to be able to stand up there 365 days later with a medal, and unfortunately for Fremantle, look across and see them hunched over and devastated, only to think 12 months ago that was you in that position. And I think achieving your first one is definitely your most memorable.
There was an opportunity to go up and work in far north Queensland, and in some respects it was a real break from some of the work that I had been doing, either in the corporate world or indeed in a relatively senior role in government. I learned a lot about, disadvantage in Australia at the acute level. Some of those lessons and learnings I've taken into my role in politics now as well, and really provide a framework for how I think about some of the broader public policy questions.
I got my break on Nickelodeon when I went to America for the first time. The casting director at Paramount said to me, "Hey, Rahat, have you ever auditioned for Nickelodeon? Have you ever spoken to Nickelodeon?" I said, "Well, no, not really. I haven't thought about it." And he said, "Let me make some phone calls. I want you to go and see them." So that's what I did. And that's when my life changed forever.
Recently, I got offered to enter Miss World Australia. I always have the belief that if an opportunity is given to you, you should grab it with both hands. So I did, and I got into the top 5. All of a sudden, I was getting booked for huge campaigns. I was getting flown to exotic locations, and it was really exciting to live something that was a dream for me.
Harvey Crumpet was based on a Cub Scout leader I had when I was a little kid who had a steel plate in his head. I would never have guessed when that first idea came into my head of making a film based on a man called Harvey Crumpet that 10 years later I'd be standing on stage at the Oscars winning an Academy Award. Who has those sorts of thoughts?
I came up with the name 5am Yoga, sitting on my surfboard at Currumbinally up on the Gold Coast one morning at 5am. The first couple of years were nothing short of horrific. Halfway through building the plant, we ran out of money. And that money was Sally and my home in North Caulfield, which we'd mortgaged to put the money into the business. Of the 20,000 cartons that we had to make, we'd made 46 or something. I got a photo of it. I'd actually driven home that night at 5 in the morning, and it was all over. And I said to Sally, "It's all over." And she gave me a kiss and she said, "I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of what you've done and for almost getting there and for trying." There's times in your life when you need something like that, unequivocal support to get you to the next phase. Because what happened? I went to sleep, I got up, I went for a swim, and I went back down, and we hand-packed the remainder of the order and we got out there.
When I started at Haileybury, I guess my approach to establishing myself in a new school was to be a naughty kid. And there was a teacher, and I'll never forget him, Mr. Gibson, who sat me down. I had a huge amount of respect for the man as a teacher, and without necessarily intending to do so, I think that talk changed the trajectory of my life after that.
I often reflect upon school teachers generally, and we certainly had some great teachers here at Haileybury, and they of course had a very important role in shaping who I am as an individual and to getting to where I am today.
I haven't been back to Haileybury in a while actually, so driving through the gates, it's always lovely memories to come back to the place where you last, did your education, and I'm really excited to be here, and it's always, a privilege to walk through Haileybury.
I guess looking back on my life, I do have a history of leaping into the unknown where there is risk and backing myself to be able to find a way through it and having the resilience to manage the ups and the downs. And I expect a large part of that originated from my time at Haileybury.
I'm fairly confident when I say that I wouldn't be sitting here talking about Oscars and the success of my films if it wasn't for Haileybury. I don't often call myself an Australian. I love to call myself a Melburnian, and I suppose I'm also a Haileyburyan as well. So they're the two things I'm proud to be.